As my colleagues will tell you, we want to be in the classroom. But this walkout is not just about teachers. Our students deserve better. Giving students a quality education with fully funded services is a win-win for everyone.
As a union graduate, a 12-year master degree career teacher, and a proud mother of 4 students in the union district, my taxable income for the year 2016 was $12,331.
We've made every penny stretch that the state has given us. And the truth is, there's just no more pennies to stretch. I'm a nationally board certified teacher. I have 2 master's degrees. I work after school. I do teaching gigs in the summer, and I'm still struggling. I heard a statistic from the OEA that Oklahoma is losing 383 teachers a month. Teachers are deciding it's not worth it to teach in Oklahoma anymore. They're either packing up their classrooms, moving states, or just deciding to change careers where they can make more money. Districts even from Texas now set up shops and hotels in Oklahoma City to recruit teachers from Oklahoma to Texas because they know we're awesome and they want us.
In August 2017, 1,429 emergency certifications had been issued. That's up more than 3,500%, leaving 50,000 students with emergency certified teachers.
Our students deserve a quality education from quality teachers. Not someone who is emergency certified, not someone who is new every year, but someone who has been trained to a high skill level, someone who has received their degree to teach. Teachers change lives and build the future. Therefore, our students deserve to be taught by someone who is highly qualified to do their job, someone who is able to devote the adequate time needed to be a teacher, and someone who can give his or her all to this profession. Not someone who is giving his or her all to 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet.
I'm a senior at the high school. I am a soccer player. I'm an AP student. I'm the president of College and Career, and I'm here to stand up for the school and the teachers as a whole. So I'm going to start off with soccer. We are currently ranked 19 in the country, actually, and us as seniors, we want to finish our season. We have a good chance of winning the state tournament this year. However, as much as it hurts to say, we are willing to give up our season in order for our teachers and students to get what they deserve. I don't just want to see my friends and us do better in these next couple months. I want to see the whole upcoming generation do good and get what they deserve.
First, of the 152 students that I currently have, and the over 400 that I've served the past 3 or 4 years at Oliver Middle School, I'm sorry. I gave you the best that I knew to give, but I didn't stand up for you, and I didn't fight for you in your education. But today, that changes. And I'm going to bring a few thousand of my colleagues to help me with that fight. I cannot rest. I will not rest until I know that you're getting the very best this state can give, and we got a lot of ground to make up. Help us make Oklahoma the state in which teachers run to and not from.
I will go to school and walk into my classroom of 35 kids. And as a student in this classroom, you walk in, you're like, this is a lot of people. There are a lot of students in this classroom. And I'm sure for the teacher who is teaching this class, walks in and is like, okay, these are a lot of kids for the day. If all 35 of your students have questions, you cannot get to all 35 in the certain amount of time you are given. 7th grade students do understand how important our education is. That's why I think it's so important for our education to be funded.
I have been teaching for 5 years. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I teach piano lessons, do private tutoring, and run an after-school club. I work an average of 10 hours a day, sometimes more. My paycheck is $2,000 per month. That includes 2 extra duty stipends and money from my after-school club. That means I take home $24,000 a year.
I have watched extremely intelligent teachers leave throughout years, and it scares me for what is to come for younger kids still in grade school and future students of Oklahoma. I am attending the University of Oklahoma in the fall. With the way education is headed for the state of Oklahoma, I've had thoughts about seeking job opportunities outside our great state, after graduation. I hate to leave the place that I grew up, but I want the best for my future children. And without change, the best is not here.
I worked a second job for 11 years to help supplement my income. Every Friday night and Saturday for the last 11 years, I was away from my kids. Last year, I had to quit this second job in order to care for my dying husband. I should be working another job right now because I don't make enough to pay the bills. Our state, my state, doesn't care about my profession that I so love. Our state, my state, doesn't value our children and their futures. And I cannot stand by and continue to watch our state, my state, denigrate the most noble profession of all.
To be a teacher in the state of Oklahoma, you are just expected to be poor. Everyone I know says, "Oh, you poor teachers, you deserve so much more." They've been saying it for 20 years since I was a student, and that is the Oklahoma culture, unfortunately. So why would I do it? Why am I a teacher? Before I was a teacher, I was young and in the Navy. I was involved in campaigns in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I saw wars, and I saw what they can do. I witnessed the consequences, the inability to communicate and use words to solve problems, the way children suffered because of those inadequacies. I became a teacher because of when all of that was over for me, and I became an ordinary civilian, I wanted to do everything in my power to fight ignorance in my own land and in my own state. When a society no longer reads and writes, when a society no longer reasons, when a society no longer considers multiple perspectives, peace becomes more and more rare and justice crumbles. Tyrants are allowed to rule the weak, and children can never hope for a secure future. America's a long way off from what I witnessed when I was in the service in those far-flung countries. But if we do not cherish and protect our freedom and democracy with intelligence and a literate public, one by one our freedoms could be taken without us even knowing. This is why I'm so passionate about teaching. But what I've been seeing really worries me. What happens when the public education system no longer can afford to give an adequate education to its children? What happens as classroom sizes become unmanageable? Teachers have a terribly high turnover rate and do not have the training and experience to face those unmanageable classroom sizes. What happens when the poor and middle classes do not have access to technology to make them competitive with their peers in the workplace, when the traditional jobs for common folks are quickly vanishing? Sure, some children will be able to escape to private or charter schools, but that will not include children from most of Oklahoma's families. Paying teachers is not something I'm asking for out of selfishness. I've witnessed the emergency certifications rise from 32 5 years ago to 2,000 this year. I've seen my peer teachers come and go at an alarming rate. I've only been teaching for 4 years, and I am one of the more experienced teachers in my department. That is seriously not acceptable. There are those who might say, but Oklahoma is a poorer state and our cost of living is lower. We can't afford to pay teachers. To them, I would ask, well, would you instead like to pay for more prisons? Crime and illiteracy are connected. As many as 44 million adults in the United States are functionally illiterate, lacking basic skills beyond a 4th grade level, according to the National Adult Literacy Survey. And 75% of adults incarcerated in state prisons lack a high school diploma or have low literacy skills. If that does not move them, I would then ask, we are one of the more oil-rich states in the nation. Does it make any sense that a state with our resources should have the poorest teachers and schools in the country? In the past 5 years, school budgets have been cut by 28%. That is more than a fourth of all public educational funding. Recently, taxes on oil and gas were cut from 7% to 3%. If the state is so concerned about money and we are suffering from a budget crisis, the decision to cut taxes on one of the largest exports makes absolutely no sense.
My favorite teacher taught me that politics is about who gets what. If we're not at the table, we're on the menu. It's a new day for the Oklahoma legislature. Every one of them has a clean slate. The past no longer matters. Political party no longer matters. There are only 2 categories right now: for public education or against public education. We can't do it for them. Our job is to educate, and their job is to legislate. One thing is clear. We are going to be a relentless voice for children in the coming weeks. I've heard that voice directed at me recently, and believe me, it is relentless. Elementary school librarians in particular are surprisingly fierce.
We're advocating not only for our teachers, but ourselves. None of us want to miss prom, soccer season, track season, debate tournaments, or choir contest, but we know the sacrifices must be made because sacrifices have been made for us. In the past 2 years, I've taken 12 classes, and 6 of those teachers have left for neighboring states. Oklahoma legislators have had over a decade to improve Oklahoma's quality of education, and they have failed. There's an app, it's OAEC 56. It gets you all the information on your legislators to contact them and to try to start change.
Mr. Kinnear?
Yes.
Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Ms. Roberman?
Yes.
Ms. McCann?
Absolutely.
And I vote yes as well.